Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another video. And today we'll be taking a look at the newest free-to-play unit, the newest OG unit to Slime Isekai Memories, Clich. Yeah, because she doesn't have the little thing over the E, so it's not Cliche. She is on the, well, actually, no, she's not on the Visions of Coleus team, even though that is the current meta. So that is the first time that I recall that the free-to-play unit does not fit on the current meta, which, take as you will. She is meant to be used on the team, but she's not getting the extra 20% attack and defense from Lumi, because she's only on Antagonist, Wielder of Magic, and the Flashback Beatdown Emissary categories, so a little bit underpowered because she doesn't have a true leader yet, but yeah, I guess she does. She's Wielder of Magic underneath the Shinsha and all that, or well, Milim, but yeah, whatever. Well, whatever details, right? She is space, she is magic, so she has type advantage and attribute advantage over the beatdown battle currently. She's attack growth. Her skills, she is a single target space for 470% and also increases guard penetration for her allies, which is okay here and there, not truly the best thing in the world. Her first skill is she lowers all targets' magic attack resistance by 60%, which is a fairly hefty buff right there, debuff right there, 55 points. And then her second skill is the orb change double green to double blue. It is, unfortunately, in my opinion, the worst version of the orb change, because instead of giving 10% gauge increase all around, she's only buffing ult gauge by 20%, which means that on turn 1 in the beatdown battle, if you use this skill, you will be much further away from getting a double stack of protection character than you normally would be if someone just had that 10% extra all gauge increase. So I do find I do not like this secondary effect as much as the other ones do. Her Fowler trait, she nerfs oranges, so cool, whoop-de-doo. And then her actual trait, when she has 50% or lower HP, she increases her own defense at the start of the turn. Cool, whatever, I don't really care. But yeah, she is meant to be, I guess, a sub-nuker on the Visions of Coleus team, but she's not getting the stacks. So, it was an interesting choice. But before we move on, I do want to, inform you guys that because she is a new... No, wrong tab. Because she is a new named character, we do get another unit that you can pump levels into and food. So she's at level 1, and we can give her quite a bit of this, and that is just a bunch of free crystals and a bunch of free stats. So make sure to do this in case you weren't aware. You can get a decent amount. We'll go to 15, and how much do we get out of this as far as crystals is concerned? It's a decent amount, and it may, be the difference between you having a multi and you not having a multi. So she gets a lot of stats, apparently. And then total crystals earned is 75, and you can take her higher, right? I only did 15. I'll probably take her to at least 25 or something, but still, free crystals, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and put her on the Visions of Coleus team that she's meant to be run on, technically, and let's try her out. Alright, we're going to start out using this team, the Visions of Coleus team that she's technically meant to be on. If you'll notice during my overall kit review, she is not actually on the Visions of Coleus team, which is a very interesting decision made by the devs to, I appreciate them making Cliche an actual playable unit finally, but if they were going to make a meta built around the OVA, they probably should have just made a free-to-play character with the OVA, so they got the extra 20% attack and defense. Well, she does anyways, right? Because she's magic, and Valentine is just buffing magic characters, but still, she's not getting any of the additional stacks, because she's not a primal demon, she's not on the Visions of Coleus force, so a very interesting decision, but she's not meant to be your true damage dealer. If you want, you could put Milim on here, or something like that, I don't know. Because, no, she's buffing Autogram Demon Lord, right? On her stacks. Yeah, Visions of Coleus and Autogram Demon Lord, of which Cliche is neither. So, it is what it is. But first off, I'm going to show you the difference between having the turn 1 protector, or the turn 1 orb change the differences between having Guy use it and then having Cliche use it, because Guy's buffing all gauges by 10%, Cliche is doing the 20% for alts. So here, actually, I'm going to swap Milim out for someone with a turn 2 protection trait. I don't really care. Let's just do this. Okay, so we'll mark the differences down, so hold on. Alright, so if we use Cliche's orb change right here, and we do this, we have Blanc's trait, and then we have the Autogram Valentine trait underneath Cliche, so that's, as much turn 2 protection gauge as we're probably going to get right here, unless I really change the team comp up. But if we send this, we are quite short of this this second stack right here, and even taking into those 2 units traits on turn 2, it's not going to be enough, because we're just inherently missing a 10% protection gauge increase for all 6 of those blues. And so there we go. We are shy by like 2 or 3 points of what we would need. But let's come back and we'll show what happens when we use Guy's orb change instead. Alright, so let's use Guy here. He's going to still change those 2 blues. We'll still bring in the other units just like we had. So you come out and Hinata comes out. So we have still the same 2 units with the turn 2 protection trait. But now if we send this, we're already starting much further up than what we are from the last turn, and then by combining those 2 traits, it's going to cover us on that additional little effect right there, which for most players, it's not going to matter too much. Like, this is only things that like you really try and concentrate on if you're trying to get a super high score and as many stacks as possible on the raid or Jubilee or something, but it does matter if you are trying to min-max that trait and these multiple stacks, because obviously having 2 stacks on turn 2 is a lot better than having 1 and a nut tap away from another, because it just feels bad. So we're just going to continue with the run here, because Cliche's damage really doesn't matter all that much here. We can use Guy's orb change though, so I think we'll take Cliche out. We'll use his again. He is on Autogram Demon Lord, so he does get the stacks. He's not on Visions of Coleus, but whatever. So by having Cliche up front, literally does nothing for us except having super weak point against Hinata, because she's space and magic. It doesn't really matter all that much. But what does matter is her support debuff. A 60% magic down effect is, again, quite hefty. Okay, come on now. Is quite a hefty debuff for a free-to-play character. Normally they have orb changes and some kind of smaller buff. Sure, fine, whatever. But here, we're actually getting some good use out of it, along with Guy's friggin' orb change. So let's just use everything then. So pop. And now we can see if we use Valentine, she's not going to get the stack. She's not going to get the attack up. She'll get the synergy, but that's generic. You can put synergy on anybody. But if we want her to do more damage throughout the fight, she's not going to be on this team. She's going to be under, like, I don't know, half anniversary Space Protector Veldora or something. Okay, and that's an interesting hand right there. I mean, we can work with it still. We definitely can. So let's swap the alt. Let's use her orb change, and we'll bring Guy back in, because the game just refuses to give me anything nowadays. Trying to do the raid sometimes is painful now, because it just does not want to give me blue orbs, and it makes me want to double orb change every single turn, and eventually you just don't have enough points for that. It is what it is. Now, going back to Cliche's debuff, there are better debuffs out there. There are better just support buffs out there, in general. So they come off of EX characters, mostly. But if you don't have those EX characters... Oh my god, another Guy hand? Are you kidding me right now? If you don't have those, and your only option for more damage is to bring Cliche, then she's not a bad unit to bring. She can definitely help you out and push you over that cap that you may or may not be hitting, because you're just not doing as much damage as you would like to be doing. She can definitely help. And here, like, I could swap out I could probably swap her and Autogram Valentine and just flip them, and we would probably get more damage output. We could put the skill-fused Rimuru up here for her, and he would do more, but or like Warrior's Mind Violet with the alt resistance down. Like, these are all viable options. Are you kidding me right now? These are all viable options. However, all of them are premium units, or need to be at level 100, like Space Rimuru. So that's not really available to a lot of players. So giving us a support option that's free to play, that has a hefty debuff, is great for the long run, because it just opens up team building options for other people. She doesn't fit on this team very well, as far as getting the buffs is concerned, like the Visions of Coleus buffs. That's fine. As long as she's doing her duty as a support unit, I really don't care. She's here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's help us do more damage and orb change. And you know what? She does that very, very well. And that's all I can really ask for at this point. Okay, we're just going to use literally every single orb change ever known to man this entire friggin' run. But, you know, we have the Violet EX ult, so give me one more turn and we'll be ready to roll. And we'll see how much damage we do. Now, this is Inferno 1, and I have done other showcases before this, right? And so far, my highest nuke... Okay, we're back, because that last hand was terrible, and it wasn't going to give me a stack, and we wouldn't have had the synergy buff, and I wasn't going to deal with that. So we're back on turn 7, we have 6 blues, so we're going to get actually more stacks than what that last run would have given us. But to continue my point, is that even though I have done other showcases up till this point, and we have used other units that would do more, or help us do more damage overall, it doesn't mean that Clich is a bad unit. She definitely does have a spot on a lot of these nuking teams because of how powerful her debuff actually is. And while it's not going to give us the oogie boogie like 5 million damage, it's going to get close enough to where no one except the sweaty tryhards are going to care about it. Because this Hinata, even on Inferno 3, only has like 1.9 million HP, which is a lot. It's more health than I think any other boss we've ever had in the game. But the amount of damage that we're about to do in this turn is going to make that very insignificant and very like unnecessary to actually have as much damage as we're about to smack down. So we've used all 5 of the buffs. Let's get these last 2 stacks on. So we're going to be up to like the maximum that I can have, which is 152%. A total attack up on Violet. If you have a 120 Lumi, you can get 127, or 157, sorry. Oh, we got 159. How the hell did that work out? That's interesting. Okay, well, I don't know how that worked out, but sure. Anyways, so we have the 80% alt buff right here. We've got the magic resistance down, plus the synergy resistance down, and then we've got all the other buffs. So the attack traits... Why do we have 3 attack traits going on? Okay. Well, I'm very confused on this run, but regardless. Synergy, magic attack, weakness strike, space attack up here somewhere. There it is. All right. So let's go ahead and send this, and we do 3 million damage. We do 3 million. That's a lot of damage right there. More damage than we're going to need in Inferno 3. And this isn't even Inferno 3. This is Inferno 1. So, Clich. Good support for a magic team. Especially a blue stacking magic team, because that's where she's really meant to be used. Are there better units? Yes. Are they as readily available to newer players? Hell no. You gotta pull EX units. You gotta put dupes into Space Rimuru or something like that to get into 100, and then you gotta skill fuse his ass. So, very available DPS support, I think, is good for this Clich. Let's put her on some other teams now. Alright, so Clich is on the Wielder of Magic team, so she'll fit in, I think, very well onto this team. She does have, you know, a little bit higher cost buff, but normally I think we would have brought the hero or something, and she's got a 55 point buff too. We can't take her into the Water 2.0 Tempered Edge stage because they seal both crit and pierce, and this team is all built on pierce power, so not really a good idea. So we're going to take him into the Earth 1.0 Tempered Edge against these 2 bozos that they refuse to give new units, even though there's a whole OVA with them in it, but we don't talk about that. Anyways, this team is an orange-focused team, and the stage does not nerf oranges. So ideally, we'll be able to get, you know, the most amount of power out of Shinsha, along with, you know, her own EX buff, the attack buff, Hinata's, you know, all element buff, Shinsha's debuff, the pierce power, and then the alt resistance down from Shizu. So in theory, this should work, but let's test it out in practice. Alright, so we got a good starting hand here. Because both Clich and Shizu are on the Wielder of Magic, we can use Ranga's Orb Change and get a full hand, and then we can go ahead and bring in Shinsha for Ranga, and let's bring in Hinata for Shizu, and we can call it good here, yeah? So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So obviously, we're wanting an EX alt with Shinsha, so we want probably 3 orange orbs on this next turn, so we can make it just very easy and simple. Oh, yes, exactly. That is exactly what I wanted to see. Thank you very much, game. All right, so let's do the future orange hand right here, and then we'll go ahead and bring in Ranga for Clich, since Clich isn't really going to have any purpose on this team until the nuke. Sometimes you could find a use for her, like maybe if we had a 4 blue and 2 green starting hand, we could have made use and we could have just gotten a lot of protection gauge instead. That would have also worked in our favor. We got to use the pierce buff, and we got to use the damage buff here. That would have also probably worked, but we didn't really need it. So she's more better suited on a blue stacking team rather than an orange focused team. But hey, it is what it is. It's still worked out in our favor. All right, cheeky counter. Fine. And now here we can use... oh, okay, he died. I actually didn't mean to kill him, but we're too strong. We are too strong here. Let's do... So if we're going to nuke, we need how many? So we need 55 plus the 25, so that's 80. That's 120. That's 145. So we got to use one of these buffs early. Do you last for 2 turns? You last for 2 turns. Okay, so we can use that prior to the nuke. So let's do the future orb again. Ensure that everything that's going to come in is going to be what we want. And I think... Are we going to get a full points right here? We are... let's go ahead and wait just an extra turn, because we got to use the alt resistance down early, and I don't know if we would have had max points on that. So, okay, cool. As long as we don't kill him. Perfect. Let's do this now. So lower his alt resistance by 25%, so it'll still be active next turn. We'll make those points back up here. Just pretty much, but we don't need 100. We need 90, I think. Okay, so here we go. This should work out fairly well. All right, cool, cool. Now, let's use the magic resistance down right here. Cool. And then we'll get Shinsha in here for Ranga. And then we'll get Hinata in here for Shizu, since we don't need her anymore. Okay, so let's use the element buff now. We'll use Milim to give ourselves the pierce. We still have the pierce power from Ranga, I think. Yeah, we do. And then we'll use her attack buff, 59%, plus the extra 50% on the EX alt. So, I mean, this worked out fairly well. What debuffs does he have going on? Alt damage resistance down, crit resistance down, which we're not critting, counter power down, we're not countering, magic resistance down. And then Shinsha has the 50% EX damage right here, plus an 8% on the charm. I didn't know I had that charm on. And then she's got guaranteed pierce, 30% pierce power, 50% water attack, and then 59% attack right here. And we're going to wipe this poor guy out of existence. With an alt, that's going to do... we're type neutral, we don't have the extra 60%. I'm going to say like 300, somewhere around there. What do we get? 285. That was close. 285. That's not bad damage for being type neutral. And being on a burst-focused team, right? This team isn't going to do millions and millions of damage, type neutral. So, it's fine. Is she the best unit to bring on this team instead of somebody else? Maybe not. There are substitutions, but she definitely did help our damage output. Let's try the Space 1.0 team now. Alright, for the final team, we're going to put her on the Space 1.0 team with the old half-anniversary team units, the Carrion, Space Millum, the Hero, Protector, Space Veldora, who was the original stacking blue Protector. He was just kind of not as good as the others, ended up being, because he's giving 50% skill point gain on every orb up to 250 instead of 100% just on blues, which is a blue focused team. So you're getting half the amount of skill points that you normally would, which isn't that great, but I guess you could call him a little bit more versatile because you can send a whole hand of greens and still get points from it. It is what it is. But we're going to use this team with no EX characters, so we're taking it back old school, and we're going to see how much damage we do against our counterpart Millum. And we're going to try and make use of the magic debuff alongside the ult and the crit damage and the space and the Drago and the crit and crit resistance, plus whatever stacks we get from Veldora along the way. Now, this isn't a set starting hand, though, so we may have to start and stop a little bit. So I'll see you guys in a few. I mean, we can start with 4 greens. I don't really mind that. It'll give us points for next turn. And with the Shuna's trait, we'll get a little bit extra, so we'll be over 60. So hopefully this next turn doesn't screw us on blues. Oh, would you look at that shit. Alright, so we can take Shuna out now. We have no Millum orbs, but we can just easily swap her out as well and not have to worry about it. So we'll take you out. And we'll take you out. We didn't get a stack, so it doesn't really matter here. Alright, so we got a double stack of Veldora now. That's good. Alright, cheeky Pierce counter. Thanks a bunch for that. This team should work, in theory. Like, we will probably have enough points to use everything. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, I said 4 greens on turn 1. That's fine. Not turn 3, game. Funny. We got jokes. Fine, we're gonna run with it. This Millum Tempered Edge stage is kind of weird because she drops all of her defenses on turn 6 and turn 11. So there's a long gap in between where we can nuke her. And I don't think we're gonna have what we need to nuke on turn 6, especially if we get shit hands like this. Oh my gentle Jesus. Alright, come on. Alright, you nerfed Hero, that's fine. Let's go ahead and rewind right now, just because we need to make up some of this. So rewind, we'll change those. We just gotta use all the orb changes, huh? Let's get Carrion out of here. Use hers, and then we'll use Cliches. And we'll just keep Shuna out of harm's way, because she's about to ult, and I don't want Shuna to be hit by that in any way, shape, or form. Alright, not quite enough for another stack, but we have the rewind that'll kick in and we can send whatever blues we can. We just had to use all of our orb changes, unfortunately, on this turn. Alright. Are you kidding me right now? Are you actually kidding me right now? Game. Why? Why are you like this? You were like this during the raid. You're going to be like this during Jubilee. You're not going to give me any friggin' blue orbs, and I'm just going to cry a little bit in my corner. Okay, so it's turn 6. Her defenses are gone, but we don't have enough points to actually nuke, right? Because we got screwed on RNG, so that's always just a fantastic delight. So we'll use Drago, and we'll send you away. You don't really need to be up here anymore. I kind of just want to get these oranges out, because the game just has refused to give me blues. And we are getting more points, technically, from the oranges, because they are being buffed by Veldora. We need 250 points to full nuke, but she's got her defenses back up, and that'll stay until turn 11. So I'm going to make a cut, and we'll come back on turn 11, of which I'm not going to get a single motherfucking blue orb, because I swear to God, this is going to turn into green somehow. Okay, well, we got to turn 11. We almost killed her, because this is a very, very old Tempered Edge stage. But, you know, we got where we needed to be. Let's use the alt buff. And then we'll bring Milim in for Shuna. We will use the crit damage buff from Carrion, and then we'll swap him out for Clich. And then we'll use the space and crit and magic resistance down effects. And then we'll put one more stack of Veldora on, and we'll call it a day. So this should be pretty good damage. We've been stacking for quite a while. Not as many stacks as you would normally get, because obviously Veldora is just an inferior stacking protector nowadays. But this should still be pretty good damage. So Milim... Okay, yeah, I didn't think we'd used her yet. What am I thinking here? Not a million. We're not that far. I'm thinking like 400k. Somewhere around there, maybe. 332. Well, a little shy of 400, but definitely not a bad number for such an old team. Because remember, like, this is the first stacking meta. It's not as good as Light 3.0 or Warrior's Mind or, you know, the Vision of the Coleus. It's just power crept out of existence. But it is a team that has no EX characters. All of these units are in the general pool. One of them is free, so it's doable for some people, right? So I think we can cut it there. I think Cliche is a decent free-to-play option for stacking power if you're going to run a Magic team. Again, not the best option out there, but a competent option. And that's all I can really ask for out of a free-to-play character, is to be at least competent. Because there are a lot of free-to-play characters that are just not good. Poor Albus. Sorry, Misery, but you're really not all that. Light Mirren, definitely not all that. You know, Benimaru, when he came out, was actually decent because he was the very first free-to-play unit, but there are a lot of free-to-play units that just don't make the cut nowadays. So being at least mildly useful in some events on specific teams is a lot better than being straight-up trash who is never, ever, ever used. Protect your goddamn Dino. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this new Cliche. I am very glad they made her a playable character. You know, it's very interesting now that we have two of the main antagonists for the game, Isis and Cliche, and their only units are free-to-play options. Kind of an interesting take on it, but I'm sure we'll get more. We already have like 3 different versions of Shinsha, so we'll probably get a couple more versions of Isis and Cliche. It's just going to take a while. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.